Happy New Year. I know this is the month of March, 2 months in the year are gone already, but I believe there's an adage that says whenever you wake up is your morning. So, yeah, Happy New Year. I was about to delve straight into my usual content for YouTube, but I realized that I haven't done like a beginning of the year-ish type of video. Typically, I would start the year on YouTube with a review of the previous year's vision board and then do a vision board for the current year and then now start off my usual content. But that's not going to be happening this year. I'm still doing a vision board, right? But I have decided not to do that like on YouTube, right? Like I usually would. Maybe in subsequent videos, I'll chip in some of the goals that I have set for myself for this year or something. But yeah, I'm making it a bit more private this time around just for some personal reasons, right? So, welcome to 2024. I hope you have I hope you're having a fantastic year so far. I do not even know if I should say that, because if you live in Nigeria, I know like there's been a global economic setback or issue, but it feels like here in Nigeria it's been a lot and everyone is just trying to survive. It's a lot. So I hope you've been doing well from the beginning of this year till this very moment, and if you're not, hang in there. Everyone is hoping that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and we're just hoping that we can get through this phase and then come out smiling, right? So how was your 2023? How was my 2023? My 2023 was challenging, right? And this is not to say that it was all bad. I'm going to be honest, I had some pretty good moments in 2023, but for whatever reason, I'm sorry if you see me looking at the screen, right? I'm using this mic. You're probably seeing this mic on me for the first time. I got this. If you watched my last vlog on the channel, which was my last vlog last year, towards the end of the video, I teased some things that I had gotten, and I was going to do like an unboxing review-ish video for those equipment. Yeah, so this is one of the things that I got. So I'm just now testing out this microphone. It's actually a Rode mic, but I'm sure you've seen like creators use this. I hope this is focused. This mic before, right? But a lot of times they pin this whole mic to their chests, which I did not want to do. So what I did was I got a Rode Lav mic to plug it to it, and so it's just a lav, so it's just like a small thing instead of having all of this clipped onto me or holding it to talk like I've seen some people do, and I absolutely dislike, right? So I will still do a video maybe talking about my upgraded or updated 2024 YouTube filming setup or something. So if you are interested in that, then you want to stick around so that you see that video when it goes up. But yes, if I'm looking at the screen, it's because I'm trying to be sure that the audio levels are good. I'm using this fresh out the box, so I have not adjusted any audio settings. But I think the sound coming from here should be pretty decent, right? Because it's not, I'm looking at my screen, the screen on my camera, and it's not like, I'm not seeing the yellow and blue. It's still on the green. So I don't even know if I'm sorry, I'm just going off point, right? So yeah, I'm going to try to stop looking at the screen. That's one. Two is hopefully, in fact, this is even a perfect time to test this microphone because I have a fan right here in front of me, right? If you are in Lagos, Nigeria, I don't know if this applies to every other state in Nigeria or every other region in Nigeria, but Lagos, Nigeria has been very hot since February or maybe January itself, but it's been very hot lately. And of course, I talked about like the state of things in the country at the moment. So sometimes there's not even light. And oh, so the weather is very hot. I can't even stand a wig right now. So I'm just like, my chunky twists are just tied and I'm just coming on here as natural as possible. So hopefully you're not hearing this fan, right? Hopefully you're not hearing this fan, right? But if you are, then please bear with me. I'm very hot. The weather is very hot. This has to stay on. Anyway, so 2023 was an interesting year. I know towards the end of last year, towards the end of last year, and even maybe, when people were making their New Year post, I also saw people mention how challenging 2023 was. So I feel like it was a common theme. I mean, of course, some people had very fantastic years, but I think there was this common theme of 2023 being challenging. And for me, a lot of challenging things happened, but two main things nearly did me in. One was I struggled with my mental health a lot in 2023. A lot. When I say a lot, I mean to the point of considering therapy. Not just considering, but thinking that therapy was the only way out. That's how bad it was. And this stemmed from an issue that happened in 2022, towards the end of 2022, that I thought had been resolved, and then somehow it bubbled over and boiled over into 2023, and it just wrecked my entire 2023 emotionally and mentally. And then the second thing that happened was that we almost lost our home, thanks to the Lagos State government and our estate developer. They were demolishing some buildings and structures in the area. Our estate was affected, and at a point, we were not sure if our home was safe or if it was going to be affected, right? I'm laughing now, but it wasn't funny when it was happening, right? Like, I would literally be in the bedroom and it's shaking because there's a bulldozer bringing down the building just beside us, or just behind us or just in front of us. It was ridiculous. Right? But as God will have it, everything worked out. I mean, I'm here in 2024, I'm alive and I'm healthy. We still have our home. So I had to learn in 2023 to lean on God heavily, especially for the first issue that I talked about, struggling mentally and all. In fact, right, the only reason I didn't start therapy was the cost. Because I remember I had, checked out BetterHelp. So BetterHelp is like a therapy platform, right? And I learned about them from Dima. I'm subscribed to Dima on YouTube. And if you are and you're a regular on her channel, then you've probably heard her, talk about BetterHelp I was going to say a couple, but a number of times, right? So of course, when therapy was heavy on my mind, I checked them out, and the cost, I was like, okay, looks like God is going to have to be my therapist. So that's the only reason I ended up not going ahead with it. And at the time, even till now, that's the only therapy platform that I'm aware of. Therapy is not really a thing here in Nigeria, so you don't have easy access to therapists. And then because it's not easily accessible, it's also expensive here in Nigeria, right? So throughout last year, I had to really learn to lean on God, because a lot of things were not making sense to me. As if that was not enough, towards the end of 2023, my health took a hit. I had to be admitted in the hospital twice, literally fighting for my life. I'm laughing, but it wasn't funny then. And that affected quite a number of things. For instance, I had planned to launch a digital product. I hope I'm properly placed here. I love this. I don't know why. I like this background and all. Maybe I'm going to adopt it as my filming location and stuff. But what was I saying? Uche, come back. Yes. So I had planned to launch a digital product at the end of last year. This is something I had been planning for the whole of 2023. I think, did I ever mention it here? A content calendar template. I believe I mentioned it in one of my videos. So I had planned the whole thing, the launch strategy, the marketing strategy, what I'm going to do with email marketing, what's going to happen on social media, trying to figure out the landing page design and all of that stuff. And then none of that could happen because obviously I was fighting for my life towards the end of the year. In fact, at the point I thought I was going to spend New Year in the hospital, but thankfully I did not. I was discharged. I think I was discharged maybe a day or 2 days before New Year. So yeah. Now, one good thing that I know happened last year was that I had my first proper video production gig, right? A long-time client of mine is repackaging her online course, and she wanted to like create videos for them, and so I had to do that. In fact, that was the reason I got the accessories that I got, the new camera accessories that I got, because by myself, I was fine with the camera I had and microphone that I had, it was working well. But because of that project, I had to upscale or upgrade my filming setup, right? So that's something else that happened. I totally enjoyed working on that project. Really can say that this year. And then I got into 2024, and by the time I was, towards the end of 2023, I'm not sure what happened, but I now started getting very uncertain about things, at the point I questioned, or rather getting into 2024, right? I started questioning a lot of things. Do I still want to be a content creator? Do I still want to be on social media? What skills do I want to focus on? Because I have quite a number of skills, right? So, for instance, there's a video production bit that I talked about. I also build and design websites and landing pages on Wix. So Wix websites and landing pages. And then there's the content creation bit. And then last year as well, another good thing that happened was I taught my first social media management class, at a 9 to 5. So a company where my friend works at needed like social media management training. And because I have been a social media manager for, a total of about 6 years, so when you count both freelancing and 9 to 5, before I quit doing that, right? I was invited, to pitch, to do the training for them, and then my proposal was accepted, and then I also held my first social media management training. So so there are all of these things coming up, all of these possible revenue streams, right? And so I became confused. And unfortunately, my YouTube channel didn't do very well last year, so I was also now considering, do I want to continue YouTube? Is all the effort worth it? So because of that, coming into 2024, I decided to take maybe some weeks off to just think, so that once I come on and I know I'm doing the work wholeheartedly. And if there's anything I have learned, is at least from other creators that have taken social media breaks, it can get very tempting to stay away for longer than you planned, right? And it happened to me. So initially I was supposed to, maybe come back in January or February, and then the whole of January passed and February passed, and now we're in March, and I almost did not want to come back. But after evaluating, of course, praying to God and asking for direction, because the last thing I want to do this year is putting all my energy into things that would not yield results, right? So I want to be laser focused this year. I want to dedicate energy and resources to things that would yield results, whether it's in terms of like income or value, whatever it is, just whatever I do this year should yield positive results, right? So I've prayed already about that, and I feel better about the year. So here I am back on YouTube, and I have a whole lot of interesting content planned for this year. In fact, I planned it since last year. As at October, November last year, I had my January to May schedule or calendar for YouTube ready. So what I mean is I had a topic for every week from January, February, March, April to May. So can you just see how funny it is that I now came into the year uncertain of what to do? Very funny. And as if that was not enough, we had COVID. So me, my husband, my daughter, all of us had COVID this year. I think that was like towards the end of January into February. It was just very funny. It started from my husband, and then my husband to my daughter, and then my daughter to me, right? And it's so funny because the moment I got it, I knew. The way mine happened, I got all of my symptoms at once, right? All of my symptoms at once. It was very funny. So, like I said, it started from my husband. But when my husband was down, I thought it was like maybe malaria or stress, because his own coincided with the time where we had a very dusty weather in January. I don't know if you can remember that if you're in Lagos. There was a week or a weekend that was very dusty, and it felt like Hamatan had come out of nowhere, right? So it coincided with that particular weekend. So I just assumed that it was either malaria or the harsh weather. And then by the following week, he was fine, and we're like, okay, whatever that was, maybe it was stress. And then some days later, Kosei develops a fever, very high fever, right? And she's not as cheerful as she usually is. And I decided to monitor her. So a lot of times, not all the time, whenever she's not feeling too good, I don't want her to I don't want her to go outside to play. So she stayed with me, right? And of course, in the process, I now got it, right? So in fact, I got it that day, or maybe I had it since in my system, and I'm not sure what happened, but I know that the day I was nursing her, I was fine, and then I slept, and I woke up the next morning, and I could barely stand up from the bed. All my joints were aching. I had a terrible headache. I had a fever, and I just knew. In fact, I told my husband, like, I think we have COVID. But he tried to, I wouldn't say downplay, but he felt like, no, it wasn't COVID, maybe it was malaria and all. But I was very certain, but again, I wanted to be positive, and I was like, okay, no problem. I went to the hospital and found out that we had COVID. But we're fine now. Everyone is fully recovered. So, yeah. It's been an interesting start to the year already for us. You are all caught up. So I can now go ahead with my content, my regular content. If you are a startup influencer or creator, or a newbie, or a small or growing influencer or creator who wants to hear from a fellow creator or influencer, right? Experiences and all. Of course, I don't know about you, but for me, sometimes when I want to get information or when I'm confused on stuff and I go on Google, I get the response, right? But sometimes I want to hear from a fellow creator or influencer. Why is this way? What influenced your decision to do this? For instance, how much should you charge brands? You can find that on Google, right? But there has to be a formula to it, right? Before slapping a price on your service offerings, how did they get at that? How did they arrive at that price or at that cost? There are factors that influence that, right? So in such cases, it's usually nice to hear from another person's experience, which is what I offer on my YouTube channel. Look at me marketing my YouTube channel, but that's what I offer here on YouTube. So all of the things that I share about, like content creation and both the business side of it and then the creation or the creative side of it, is largely based on my own experience as a growing creator as well. So if you are interested in that sort of content, then you want to make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and turn on the notification bell. I have been talking for almost 26 minutes and I did not imagine that this video would go this long. But yeah, so I would see you in my next video. Till then, stay safe, stay fabulous, stay blessed. Goodbye.